Hello everyone, and thank you so very much to a dancer from the Lutando Arts Academy who is doing a little piece that is going to be shown at a festival I will tell you about shortly. But from all of us here in studio from Auckland Park, Johannesburg, a big welcome. This is of course Trendz, bringing you your weekly news and headlines in showbiz and entertainment from Jersey to Hollywood. I'm your host, the name is Refil Wemwilwa, and for those of you on Twitterville, we are at Trendz on SABC. Now, we sure don't know what's going on, but in the heavens, one phenomenal choir is being put together with international and local vocal powerhouses, the likes of George Michael, Siso Ngwane, Mama Tandi, Klaasen, and now multi-award-winning gospel sensation that was Lundi, Tyamara, who after so many years of so many struggles succumbed to stomach TB and a liver condition. He had been hospitalized since December last year. He was 38 years old.
Dubbed the Prince of Gospel, a talent that translated into millions of album sales, Lundi Tyamara's voice captured the nation's heart. And as he takes his place among fallen giants, his name echoed in heartfelt tributes.
Lundi is one of those boys who, when he was in trouble, he would call me. And Tsepo would always say, "Mom, can you call Lundi and tell him to go to the show?" And I would call Lundi and say, "Lundi, you have to go to the show." Lundi was like one of my other kids as well.
Lundi must rest in peace, and we bless his soul, and we're thankful for what he's done.
For many, the loss of an idol, but to his family, a son, brother and father.
The family is very, very traumatized, and we are still shocked about the death of Lundi. And we are trying by all means to comfort our siblings and sisters.
Tyamara cut his teeth as a backup singer for gospel giant Rebecca Malope. His first solo album, Mphefumulo Wami, went multi-platinum. As his star rose, so did his battle with alcohol and drugs. His honesty about his imperfections earned him respect among his peers.
Lundi was truthful to himself and his God. Why I'm saying this, he is the first gospel artist to raise his hand and say, "I've got a drug problem, alcohol problem." And he's the first artist to come out and say, "I am gay." And he's the first artist to say, "I've got a drinking problem." Because we've seen people sitting behind the curtain or in the closet until they die with the truth, until we hear rumors. But he was very strong, Lundi, because even when the media was catching him up, catching Ayasadinto, Lundi will always stand up and identity and move on.
Tyamara's 18-year career saw him release 17 albums. He leaves behind 3 children and 4 siblings.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, thousands of mourners paid their last respects to jazz legend Mama Tandi Klaasen in Eden Park in Ekurhuleni yesterday. She died after suffering from pancreatic cancer, and she has been hailed for being one of the divas of Kofifi.
A befitting tribute.
I did it my way.
The life of a musical giant celebrated by her peers.
Back of the moon, boys, back of the moon, boys. Don't you lean it over against the back of the moon.
In the best way she knows.
Notch and torch. Egloop and Kofifi town, cherry fan major notch. Say never a notch me, because she did not need protection. This was a queen, and she had a free spirit.
We must empower the music maker. We must empower and transform, because the music industry is still operating under the rules and the laws of apartheid. Sizoqhuba lo mshikashika koko. Qala manje. Amandla!
So fire down.
Klaasen's illustrious career spanned 5 decades.
I've inherited not just the wonderful gift of music from my mom. It is the wisdom that I've learned from my mom, Uguti. They can't take away anything from you, Mtanam. And she was, like I mentioned, we had music that we had together, mother and daughter, united in song.
Among a string of awards and honors, the National Order of the Boabab for a contribution to the arts.
I thought I should come today just to say farewell to this distinguished member of the Order of the Boabab, to say once again to her, thank you very much for everything you've done for our people, and to say to her, let her rest in peace.
The curtain has fallen on Klaasen's career, but her silky smooth voice will continue to enthrall.
Now, as mentioned last week, hundreds from music, political and social circles gathered to pay their respects to Mama Tandi at her memorial service held at the Germiston Civic Hall. And man, oh man, what a befitting musical showdown it was, as we just saw. But right now, we're about to see snippets from her funeral that was on Friday, the 27th of January.
Trees of green. Thank you. Red roses too. Well, I see them bloom for me and you.
I was a good observer of my mom. When I was a little girl, I used to say, when I grow up, I'm going to be just like my mother. I'm going to sing and travel all over the world and make people happy with my music. And I am really living the promise I made to myself.
And now, the end is here. That's what Tandi would have said. And so I face the final curtain. Bantu Bagiti, today we are celebrating the life of Utandi Mpambane Klaasen.
I'm just happy that I was touched by her grace. And she made me what I am today. Thank you, Sister. Ulale ngoxolo luqhipha kusikele.
Igenge yethu leseyahamba ngiyazi ukuthi uSister Tandi, she's on that path. She's in that village. If there should be a village up there, which there must be a village. Lale kakuhle sisi wami, and sizawudibana pretty soon. We shall be together.
I had no chance to say goodbye to romance. I had no time to leave it all behind.
So much lovely music. May Mama Tandi's soul rest in peace. Now, following a series of flash mobs and public space activations, the Forgotten Angle Theatre Collaborative is kicking off the 3rd annual My Body, My Space Rural Arts and Cultural Festival across Muzzeni in Mpumalanga from February the 11th. Now, the week-long festival will feature music, arts and land art alongside an exceptional mix of local and international dance pieces. I'm now in studio with the festival organizer, PJ Sabaha. Welcome to Studio, PJ.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. And I understand this is the 3rd year that this festival has happened. And I mean, just the name.
Yes.
Tell us about what's behind the name.
Okay, so My Body, My Space is about how do we as South Africans reclaim our space.
Right.
So it's art activism. It's about how do we as South Africans reclaim the spaces we live in, reclaim them as safe spaces, reclaim them as spaces that we can trust, where we can have conversations, where we can build trusting relationships, where we can cross socio-politic, economic lines, and restitch communities, bring people back together again.
Okay, and I like that word that you used about it being art activism or dance activism.
Yes.
And have you always been, because for many people it's a case of my body, my space. And it's about, what dancing does for you personally.
Yes.
But you've taken it, a whole 360 to say, you know what, there's actually a whole lot more to just using our bodies as instruments. We can actually also be activists.
Absolutely. Art activism is something that's been close to my heart and close to the heart of the Forgotten Angle Theatre Collaborative in our last 21 years. We believe firmly that arts is an arts practice is a tool for personal and social transformation. It's a tool for healing, personal healing, social healing.
Yeah.
So, there is such a wealth of insight, knowledge that comes from arts and culture practice.
I can just tell the passion. I mean, when you talk about it, I mean, it definitely is you through and through. And so this program called the Central Nervous System Program happens from the 17th to the 19th of February.
That's correct.
For people who don't know, who don't even know where Muzzeni is, just let them know a little bit more about what to expect.
So the festival, which is funded by the National Lotteries Commission and the National Arts Council, is happening in eMakazeni. eMakazeni is kind of midway between Johannesburg and Maputo. So on the N4 corridor, it's a really comfortable 2.5-hour drive from Johannesburg.
Okay, so not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
It's highway all the way.
Yeah.
Lots of lovely guest houses and hotels and places to stay in the area. Dahlstrom is kind of the flagship town, tourist town. And the program runs, the main program, which we call the Central Nervous System, the CNS, runs from the 17th to the 19th. Jam-packed program of national, international dance, community arts, cultural groups, visual arts, craft. And it unfolds in public spaces. It unfolds at tourist hotspots. Millie's, which is a really famous tourist hotspot where everybody knows they can get trout. So we have performances taking their place there in Mtonjeni, in community halls.
And so that's the thing. There's different venues happening all around. And fantastic that you've taken it out of Johannesburg or Cape Town, which is where traditionally, things like this happen. And let's talk about the new work that you've created with the Forgotten Angle Theatre Project.
Yes, okay. So we've been quite crazy. At our centre, Ebudlweni, which is the word for waterfall in Ndebele, is on a farm. We've created an arts centre. And next to our studio, there's a big forest. And so we've decided, let's create a work which is about human beings, human relationships, and our relationship to the world around us and our environment. So it literally unfolds in the forest. So audience watches from inside a forest, dances in trees. So we're really trying to push the envelope of where can art happen? How do we access art?
And of course it is anywhere.
Absolutely.
Anywhere. And the dancer that we saw starting off the show, there's another one that's going to be Dances to Break. But of course, young dancers. This is something you've been passionate about forever.
Absolutely.
From the Dada Masilos to, now there's always new dancers. What's your take, on, the state of arts, the state of dance, and even just, the fuel that young dancers come in with into the industry?
Absolutely. It's so critical that we are nurturing, growing the amazing talent and voices of people in this country. We are acknowledged all over the world, all of us, as being significant contributors to kind of global cultural economy. In this country, we're not acknowledged. And it's so important that we hold, support, drive, and nurture the voices.
Sure. And so social media, where can people get information about the festival?
Absolutely. We have various platforms: My Body, My Space, Rural Arts and Culture Festival, the Forgotten Angle, which is the company. All the information is there.
Facebook page as well, Instagram.
Exactly.
Okay, and it's www.forgottenangle.co.za. Fantastic, PJ. Thank you so very much. We're going to just have a look at this young lady here who is doing a little bit of what people can expect at the festival. Thank you so very much, PJ Sabaha.
The only way to pour the perfect beer, this professional barman would tell you, is into a glass tilted at exactly 45 degrees. Oh, bless you. Bless you, sir. Bless you again. Well, we'd say the perfect way to pour a beer is at this angle, straight into your mouth. Get a 12-pack of Castle Light Handies for only $94.99 from Tops at Spar.
The world has become digital, and we need to find new ways to solve current problems.
You're capturing your geo-coordinate. So if you stay in a shack, you still have an address because we know where you are.
Some are using it to tell new African narratives.
Our first priority is catering to our fans. We have to go where they are, and they're online.
That's Network with Ms. Phumelele Zondi every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trends. Now, after receiving rave reviews across the board from critics and audiences alike, the Fugard Theatre's smash hit musical West Side Story is currently on at the Joburg Theatre by popular demand. Now, the production ended a staggeringly successful sold-out run at the Artscape Opera House in Cape Town last year. Take a look.
This high-energy level production first premiered in Broadway in 1957, and this year the musical is celebrating 60 years. The storyline is set in the Upper West Side neighborhood in New York City in the mid-1950s. Brought to South Africa by the Fugard Theatre, this production explores the conflict between the Jets and the Sharks, two street gangs of different backgrounds. In the musical, we see Tony, a former member of the Jets and best friend of the gang leader Riff, falling in love with Maria, the sister of Bernardo, leader of the Sharks. Tony is played by award-winning actor and singer Jonathan Rock Smith, while Maria is played by Linnell Kennedy.
I play Tony in this production of West Side Story, who is a normal guy. He's on the side of the Jets, who then falls in love with Maria, who is the sister of his, technically it's his enemy's sister that he falls in love with, of the opposite gang.
I do 6 shows a week and John does 8. The other 2 are played by Philippa van Eck. But because the show is so emotionally demanding, it really forces you to connect with those emotions night after night, and it can be quite taxing and exhausting, both physically and spiritually.
We have a lot of fighting in the show, so there's proper fight choreography that's very exciting for the audience, but it's very technical for the actors who are doing it. And I underestimated what that was going to do to my body, because I'm not a gym bunny per se. Some of our shark boys are, but what's difficult keeping up with that is you don't anticipate. Okay, so you pretend to have a fight with somebody. You wake up the next day, and your back says good morning before anybody else does, and you start to feel it. So it's, again, I think it's finding a safe way to provide an exciting experience to 8 audiences every week.
This musical is directed by Matthew Wild, who is one of the most accomplished and versatile South African theatre directors of his time. He has directed a number of productions including The Race of Progress, The Comedy of Errors, and many other productions.
West Side Story, of course, is one of the most loved and famous musicals in the world. It became particularly famous with the Oscar-nominated film. It was made in the early 60s. And this production has been all about finding a brand new way to bring it to life for the present day here in South Africa. The incredible thing about West Side Story right now, it's a very entertaining piece, but there are very serious themes underneath it. It looks very seriously at xenophobia, at racism, at the reasons why people growing up in depressed societies get into gangs. And a major theme in the piece is immigration and the way that people treat new immigrants. So in a Trump-led America, the piece feels more relevant now than ever before, and of course with many parallels to our society as well.
The cast consists of 40 members and is backed by a live philharmonic orchestra playing Bernstein's magnificent score, which includes the world-famous song Something's Coming, Maria, I Feel Pretty, and Tonight. This musical opened at the Joburg Theatre earlier this week and will draw the curtain on the 5th of March.
Now, once again, a world-class curated collection of the best in menswear out of South Africa and across the continent will be showcased at what's become one of the most exciting fashion weeks, that is South African Menswear Week. So if you want to know and want to be in the know of the latest trends in men's fashion, then Cape Town Stadium is definitely the place to be at this February. Joining me in our Cape Town studio, we have co-founder and creative director Simon Denner, and here with me in studio is Craig Jacobs of Fundudzi, who will also be showcasing his latest threads for 2017. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Fantastic to have you here, Craig. And of course, Simon, how are you over there in Cape Town?
Oh, it's good. We're just getting all prepped and everything for next week. But yeah, thanks for having us.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Craig, just you are sitting with me here in studio, and you know many people know the name Fundudzi, but I personally, actually, because I've never asked you, wanted to know about your whole. It's almost like a fascination and this amazing intrigue with the Vavenda people.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I wanted to, when I created my label, I wanted to celebrate South African culture. Yeah. And I just found the Venda stripe, the prints that they use, and I fell in love with it. And I started investigating a lot of Venda history, and then heard about this sacred lake for the Venda people called Lake Fundudzi, where you can hear their ancestors drumming underneath the water of Lake Fundudzi at night. And I thought, aha, that's what I'm going to call
there
my label.
There we go. Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, it's been over 10 years, and
yes.
You've been doing print before print was in, you know what I mean? And you are one of those pioneers in the fashion industry. And here we are, years later, you are at Lexus SA Men's Week. So tell us what people can expect from your lookbook. I know we have a few pictures that people will also be able to see, you know, how your fashion sense has also evolved over the years.
So, I mean, in terms of menswear, for me, it's quite exciting because it's actually quite new. I've only done menswear for now about 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's given me an opportunity to play, and how we've progressed in terms of the look and feel of the collection for menswear. It's got a little bit more of a sporty element to it. So I call it Afro Sports Luxe.
Nice. Okay.
Because guys, you know, I mean, guys want other options to wear, like kind of your bomber jackets and like, you know, shirts and that kind of thing. So now you can wear it in African aesthetic.
Fantastic. Okay, and so right now, 2017, what would you say are the biggest trends, and how do you actually determine those? Because I suppose it's not a case of looking at what's happening in Europe or Italy, or, you know, you guys actually are the ones here who determine, okay, so this is the trend for the season.
Yes, so I mean, in terms of there's certain key things that I've kind of thought actually interestingly, globally, they've been quite strong trends. So there's the bomber jacket, which is a very big staple for menswear. Obviously with Fundudzi, you can wear an African-inspired one, so you can do it in African print.
Fantastic. And right now on screen, I mean, we have here Tiro, who is a finalist, or one of the Cosmo's sexiest men. Now, you're doing it proper. I mean, look at that outfit. So tell us, you know, what should they be paying attention to when they want to put on an outfit like this, and what kind of guy, other than, you know, people who enter Cosmo's sexiest men, you know, put on a Fundudzi man?
Okay, so I mean, the thing about this outfit, it's also like another strong trend that's been coming through in terms of menswear is the oversized length shirt.
Right.
So it makes.
But let's talk about that.
Yeah?
Sorry to come in. Let's talk about that, because the oversized shirt, and obviously you have to be a man who has the height to pull it off.
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah, it works for a
it looks
whole
odd
range
on short
of different.
guys. It looks odd.
Well, you've got to pick the right length. So basically, when we talk about oversized, instead of having a t-shirt or a shirt that goes against your waist, it goes a little bit longer.
Okay.
So it has to be in proportion to the body.
Okay,
obviously.
so proportion is key.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it does elongate you.
Yeah.
And it's also quite flattering, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, for guys who've put on a little bit of weight, especially coming out of December now.
Sure.
The oversized shirt is like one of those items you want to incorporate into your wardrobe.
Fantastic. Simon, let's bring you into the conversation over there in Cape Town. Don't be too lonely out there. Simon, you know, it's a few years that Menswear Week has happened. This year you have fantastic partners on board. You know, what is it that people can look forward to that wasn't there, you know, last year?
I think the thing that's known about Menswear Week is that we really innovate and push what we do. So we've moved to an exciting new venue, which is the Palms in Woodstock. It's a little bit back to our roots. It's underground, it's edgier. And then we've really curated a selection of retail-ready designers, people who can deliver on this demand that's growing. And as Craig said, people are looking for that African and local menswear. So the closer we can get to fulfilling that demand, the happier we are. We've also got an exciting pre-party. We have Craig launching the night before. So I think we've really got some exciting stuff happening. And it's going to be exciting because we've also changed how we do the schedule. So it's no longer spread out over 4 days. It's 2.5 days of really high energy shows.
Yeah, and no sleep, clearly. And for all the news and, I mean, of course, your updates, where do people go on social media, online? Please give us the information.
If anyone wants to follow us, they can go to our website, which is menswearweek.co.za, or alternately, they can follow us on social media at SA Menswear Week. That's it.
Oh, fantastic. It will be an insane 2.5 days. Congratulations to you, Simon, and your team for doing this at a time when, you know, definitely menswear is, you know, something that people should really be looking out for. Craig, fantastic. As always, year after year, you keep being innovative. You keep being one of the pioneers of South African and African fashion. So kudos to you and congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. We are going to a break, but I do have a performance coming up that you will be very, very keen to watch. His name is Muzzeni, and he will be performing for us when we come back.
Probably we should ask the question, is the ICC targeting African leaders?
For the life of me, I would hate to be charged with crimes against humanity. Very few people can deny nor ignore that there are crimes being committed on the African continent at this very moment. Now, we need to be able to hold people to account regardless of where they are from.
South Africa has a body of international law that it's committed itself to, that seeks to counter impunity in the world when it comes to gross human rights violations. In this specific instance, we have a problem. By the way, you must remember that South Africa has a law on extradition and mutual legal assistance that enable us to extradite any fugitive of justice from anywhere in the world so that they can stand trial for whatever crimes.
Uwe mtano mgogo tulifone na sasa ngibe ngithandana nawe ngibe nephutha mina uwe mntana ngokuthi ngihlole nosisa khona ngibe ngithandana nawe awawu nginezinkinga othandweni aywe sishangana khona ngekho awawu iyeye malo wangekhala sishangana khona ngekho ngibe nephutha mina ngibe nephutha uwe mntana ngokuthi ngithole nosisa khona ngibe ngithandana nawe ngibe nephutha ngixolele nephutha aywe ukuthi ngithole nosisa khona ngibe ngithandana nawe awa sengiyazisola mina awa aywe ngiyazisola mina awa ngiyazisola mina awa aywe ngiyazisola mina ngibe nephutha mina ngibe nephutha bengifuna ukujuza awu mntana ukuthi ngithole nosithando sami ngithandana nawe ngibe nephutha ngixolele uxolela mntana ukuthi ngithole aywe ngithandana nawe awa
Thank you so very much. That was a Maskandi artist called Muzzeni. I'll be talking with him in a little while. But before that, a thought-provoking exhibition tackling issues of homosexuality in Muslim countries like Iraq and Syria is currently on at the Goodman Gallery in Parktown, Johannesburg. It's titled A Pile of Stones. Now, the exhibition by Clive van den Berg's exhibition is a call to sharpen our gaze to recognize and value rather than repress, disguise, and even hate.
Homosexuality is still taboo in countries like Syria, Iraq, Russia, Uganda, and Malawi, and some other African countries. With these sculptures and paintings, Clive van den Berg seeks to create a debate and awareness about homosexuality. The exhibition was inspired by recent events in Syria and Iraq, where footage of gay men thrown from rooftops and then publicly stoned were circulated.
So I'm making these memorials to these men who are murdered because they're gay. And they are unnamed, they cannot be named, and they're unnameable because their families can't claim them. And this is the appalling thing about these deaths, that people cannot use the usual forms of mourning. You know, if you think about when somebody that you love or a family member dies, what we do, we advertise it in the newspaper, and through our networks we tell people of this person's death. And we share our knowledge of that person, and we share our history with that person. And this cannot be done in this case because these deaths are erased.
Van den Berg mostly sculpts his concepts and also paints them. The finished product takes him 8 months to a year to complete. In his sculptures, he draws the viewer close to reality.
Our first difference is we have an extraordinary constitution, and we have to be proud of that. And part of that pride is to defend that constitution and to assert its clauses, not to let them get chipped away. And I think being vocal is a way of making sure that we all take pride in our constitution and that we honor it. So that's a huge difference. Whatever abuses might happen, we can challenge them through the constitution. This is an enormous privilege, and it exists in very few countries around the world. That doesn't mean that prejudice doesn't exist in this country. Of course it does. And I think part of, whilst my exhibition is, the example that I'm using is about the murder of gay men in Syria and Iraq, this abuse is not confined to those areas. We see increases of abuse of gay people all over the world, in Russia particularly, in the Middle East and the rest of Africa, in our country as well. So we have to be vigilant about abuse, and not think it's isolated and not think we're safe from it. We're not.
Curator at the Goodman Gallery, Emma Lawrence, says the idea of putting up this kind of exhibitions in the gallery is to raise social awareness within our communities. She says Van der Berg is one among many other artists who is able to provoke thought through his work.
This particular exhibition has been very, very important, not only for the gallery and for the artist, but for social awareness, for bringing into this space activism, resistance, and making people aware of the kind of suffering that is happening to gay men, I guess internationally, outside of just the suffering that people are experiencing here, but all over the world.
The centerpiece of the show, A Pile of Stones, is an intricate 3-meter high hand-carved wood sculpture that pays tribute to these faceless victims and demonstrates the scope and depth of the artist. The exhibition will be at the gallery until the 15th of February.
And I did say the gentleman who gave us that fantastic traditional Maskandi music will be on the couch with me shortly. So yeah, I'm here with to talk about his music. It's Muzzeni. He's a Maskandi singer who's internationally recognized and has wowed audiences in places as far afield as Japan, Russia, China and Europe due to his really fantastic singing and guitar skills. So welcome to Trendz, Muzzeni.
Ngibingelela bonke ababukeli umbuzeni lona ngithi noma ngababiza bonke anginendaba yimi lo usibhabhamiseni kodwa umsesomali ndaba zana xusaba amaqala uJojo Manteda azongikopa iqolo ngithi undanda kowabo simadungalinga ukuthi bazongizona basonisathana ngithi la ngiphuma khona ngiphuma emkhamazi ngihleli nentokazi enhle ngenisa ngithinta bomaskandi niyangibona.
Wow, that was so unexpected. Thank you for the compliment, Muzzeni. Nyabonga. Yes, oh, fantastic. So, Muzzeni, you are a young guy. You are doing Maskandi. You know, you have legends like your Obabi Hashil Mhlophe and his family who've been doing this kind of music. And the sad part almost is that you are really well known outside of South Africa. So how does that make you feel? And what are you doing to make yourself even more, known at home?
Futhi ngizoqala nje ngikubeke lokho ukuthi mina ngifike emculweni kaMaskandi ngimncane kakhulu ngo2006 bengikhipha icwecwe lami bengisafika nje futhi ngakubeka lokuthi emculweni kaMaskandi mina ngifike ngayingane ngoba isikhathi esikhulu uMaskandi kwazi ukuthi umculo oculwa abantu abadala njengobona nje ophuze chemes uMaskandi obabu Hashel Mhlophe so ngase ngithi mina ngoba ngimncane nje ngisemusha angishaya wona lo mculo lo khona izobona nentsha ukuthi lo mculo akusiwona wamakhehla futhi kwazi ukuthi umculo kaMaskandi
So how do you remix it right now? How do you remix it as a young person? You're saying it's from older guys have always been the traditional Maskandi guys. So how do you modernize your music?
Mina wami music shoot yazi ngenze njani ngifike ngishaya isinto mengiyaphesheya nje nginokufaka imvunulo angigqoki kanje ngifaka imvunulo ngishaya isinto bese futhi umculo wami ngingawenza ukuthi kube lo wakudala wama 80s kufanele ushaye ngifaka ama spice ukuthi kubonakale nengane ezincane ukuthi uyabona ngoba khona enye ingoma ade ngishaya nje ngenza ingoma bayithanda kakhulu phesheya ethi iya Rihanna.
Okay.
Ngizokushayela nje wona kancane nje.
Ngizothi nje kancane.
Ka Rihanna ngizothi
awushaya. Hola. Hey. It is. Okay.
Shoot yaboma ngishaya shoot ngeke ushoot mina wami umculo ngingena nase university ingane ezincane ekhala sithi umculo wakho yabona uyazibona nawo umuhle kanjani kodwa wona lo bhorayo yabona ingakho kwami umculo umbuzeni ngifike nalo ingakho ngishisa kuyimanje ngekhathango ngomashi.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. And you just come back from India 10 days ago, you were telling me.
Yeah, bengiperforma khona ku-Bricks Film Festival bese in the New Delhi nase Chandigarh. Kahle kahle ngumculo waphesheya ngidumile lapha eMzansi ngidumile umsebenzi bayawazi.
No, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Shine bright like a diamond. You're shining, you're shining. No, that's fantastic, and that's the thing, because to get young people to appreciate their music, I mean, there you go. You are doing this, and I mean, in music now, when you see I'm a gospel, not traditional music awards and all of that, you know, it's great that there's platforms that recognize you to say, you guys are young, come through, do your music, be proud of your culture, your heritage. So that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Angaze ngimsebenza umlungu. Nangu umlungu wami. Ngisebenza lesigingqi ngihambe phesheya. Ngiyahamba nangemoto yabona. Kahle kahle ngiyaphila yabona. Nanokukhombisa ukuthi umculo ke wakithi isintu nomaskanda kona umculo mhlambe kwabantu abangafundanga abangayanga esikoleni yabona. Ya umculo ohlonishwa kakhulu ngingakho mina ngikhona futhi ngisaya kude yabona ngoba bengise China eBeijing. Ufike ngashaya khona wonke amachana akhala ngidlala ingoma ngithi
machana yakhala.
Yayithi ni how.
Fantastic. The Chinese people will move to tears because of your music.
Belalele sona lesigingqi yabona ngabona.
And then I'm a collaboration with Chinese artists.
So kunzima phela ngoba ilanguage yabona
kodwa
umusic mase sonke siyahlangana ngoba umusic akunendaba ukuthi ene ukhuluma luphi ulimi kodwa nje emculweni yonke into iyazwana yabona.
Fantastic. I mean, we only have to take a look at examples like Abu Mahotela Queens and, you know, other people who've been doing this music and they've won Grammys. You know what I mean? So fantastic, and we really are proud of you and what you do. Anything else? You've done Rihanna. Who else can you do for us, just quickly from your guitar?
Shuthi ke enye ingoma engiyenzile.
Play something for me. Play something special for me.
Uzoyisholo wena ukuthi ithini le ngoma. Ngiyakukhumbula mntana umuntu, ngiyakuthanda. Ngiyakukhumbula sithandwa sami, ngiyakuthanda. Siyezi 14th of February. Ziyobe ngibhalisana, ziyobe ngihamba nawe. Yayizwa umculo mina wami ke unjani.
14th February Muzzeni.
Ashuthi siye Qatar yabona.
We have to. I mean, really, we must go to Qatar and shine bright like diamonds. Man, oh wow, I'm having so much fun with you, Muzzeni. Thank you so very much. Instagram, Twitter, where do people follow you?
Futhi nginayo lapha i-page ilento i-group yakwi Facebook yabalandeli yambuzeni ithi Mbuzeni Mkhize Maskandi fans bese kuzoba yami ithi Mbuzeni Mkhize so mufuna indaba zambuzeni nje uyangithola lapho yabona.
Thank you, Butwan. Thank you for blessing us with the great music, and we'll see you again shortly before the show closes. And so let's move on over to Hollywood here, because the nominees for the 89th Academy Awards were announced this past week. Now, leading the nominees is the romantic musical La La Land with 14 nods. After that, this amazing sci-fi movie Arrival and the intense drama Moonlight, which both bagged 8 nominations. Now, the big night that has all of Tinseltown in an excited frenzy, and all of us so happy that the calls for diversity have been heeded, is set to take place at the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood, California on February 26th.
You're fired. It's Christmas. Yeah, I see the decorations. Good luck in the new year.
Romantic musical La La Land led the Oscar nominations with 14 nods, including the top prize of Best Picture and Best Actor nominations for its stars Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. The 14 nominations of La La Land for the highest honor in the movie industry equaled the record held by 1997 blockbuster Titanic and the 1950 film All About Eve. In the Best Actor category, Gosling will compete with Casey Affleck, who plays a grieving father in Manchester by the Sea, Fences star Denzel Washington, British actor Andrew Garfield of Horsesack Ridge, and Viggo Mortensen's unorthodox dad in Captain Fantastic. The Best Actress category went to Isabel Huppert for the film Elle, Ruth Negga for Loving, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone from La La Land, and Meryl Streep from Florence Foster Jenkins.
Y'all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles or sit in the back of the bus.
Octavia Spencer brought a supporting actress nod for the film Hidden Figures, a film about 3 black female mathematicians working on the U.S. space program in the 1960s.
When I first met this woman, I saw Rose and I latched on to her. I told her, baby, I don't want to marry. I just want to be your man. Rose told me.
I told him if he wasn't a mankind and move out the way so the mankind could find me.
That's what she told me. You're in my way, you're blocking the view, move out the way so I can find me a husband.
Fences is the story of Troy Maxson, a mid-century Pittsburgh sanitation worker who once dreamt of a baseball career. The nod went to Viola Davis.
Measure yourself against the world out there.
Naomi Harris also made it to the list for her role as Paula in film titled Moonlight, and others including Nicole Kidman for Lion and Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea.
The nominees for supporting actor are...
The Best Supporting Actor category went to Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges for Manchester by the Sea, Dave Patel for Lion, and Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals.
Our Lord said to them, "Go ye into the whole world and preach the gospel to every living creature."
Martin Scorsese's religious passion project Silence, which was 28 years in the making, was missing from the main categories and earned just one nomination for cinematography.
I read online today that in February I'll be hosting the Oscars.
Jimmy Kimmel will host the Academy Awards ceremony in Hollywood on the 26th of February.
Information-hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are two things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
On Network, we tell you about Africa's social media and technology landscape. 21st century economies rely on technology to truly thrive.
We have quite a comprehensive portfolio of interventions in the tech entrepreneurship space.
And Africans are using tech and social media to solve the continent's unique challenges.
App Nigeria is an online marketplace.
Radio Vibe is a social media platform for radio music.
That's Network with me, Pumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Welcome back to the last stretch of Trendz. So Ethiopia is known as the land of Emperor Haile Selassie, an Ethiopian regent and emperor revered as the returned messiah of the Bible by the Rastafari. Now, interestingly enough, the emperor has inspired an almost cult following among reggae fans across the world, including settlers in a little place called Shashaman, a little patch of Jamaica, some hundreds of kilometers from Addis Ababa. Take a look.
Welcome to Shashamane, the promised land of the Rastafarians. Nestled 150 miles south of Addis Ababa, you'll be welcomed in this little patch of Jamaica by these dreadlocks Rasta settlers with their famous genre of music, reggae. Meet Teddy Dan, a famous reggae artist and also one of the settlers in Shashamane. He was born in Jamaica and grew up in England and finally moved to Africa in 1999. 17 years on, he does not see himself going back to Jamaica. The 53-year-old was eager to carve a niche in his ancestral land, and the best way he could do that was through his gift for artwork and music. He has an art gallery in the heart of Shashamane, which has become a tourist attraction, a site for African artifacts, and a good place to learn a thing or two about the Rastafarians.
This is a part of the history, and I have always believed that if we can paint our history in oil paint and canvas, it can last just like Michelangelo.
Most of Teddy's art pieces carry messages of love, peace, and building Africa. Portraits of Emperor Haile Selassie decorate his gallery in every nook and cranny. He too, like many Rastafarians, believed that Haile Selassie is the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ said he will not come back in the world in the name of Jesus Christ. He will come in the name of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah.
His pieces, though, have no fixed prices. The highest bidder will carry it home. Many of these artworks are made of waste materials such as coconut fiber, banana bark, and corn trashes. As if art is not good enough to send his message home, he turned to music.
Nice one. I think I may have just found my next holiday destination because, well, I is no Rasta, but I'm sure I could blend in very nicely in Shashamane, Jamaica. Ethiopia, a little patch of Jamaica in Ethiopia. And so now we're closing the show and we have the gentleman who was here. I mean, he said he's taking me to Qatar on Valentine's Day. This is Muzzeni who is going to perform for us. He's absolutely awesome. Go out there, be yourselves, your authentic selves, and this is what you could be.
ushaya ngamazinyo amhlophe uthotha bese hleka kancane makumela jabule ngithi nguye lona engithandana naye ushaya ngamazinyo amhlophe uthotha bese hleka kancane makumela jabule ngithi nguye lona ushaya ngamazinyo amhlophe uthotha bese hleka kancane makumela jabule ngithi nguye lona bese hleka kancane makumela jabule ngithi nguye lo abamiza ngesimama nguye lo shaya ngamazinyo amhlophe uthotho ayiwe kancane makumela jabule ngithi nguye lo nomuntu engithandana naye shaya ngamazinyo amhlophe uthotho ngiyamthanda kancane makumela jabule Satandana, angizwe usenyezi ngaye muhle